Let's start from Om Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. So in all this, the Veda was revealed, Vedic mantras are revealed to different rishis at different times. So you have words coming in there like mantra drashta, etc. Like Vishwamitra is a mantra drashta for Gayatri. So it was revealed to him. So all over India, Aryavarta, it was revealed to different rishis at different times. So each had a shaka, no? A branch. And many people in a way started organizing it on the ways of chanting, etc. So in some ways you had the Rig, Yajur, Sama, Atharva, they recognize somewhat of it. In fact, they say the Rig Veda was the first one to be revealed. Why? Because the Rig mantras are quoted in other Vedas. Because of that, they said, okay, Rig. So, since it was revealed to different people at different times, how do you collect the whole thing and put it together? That was done a few thousand years later, at least 5,000 years later, by Vyasa, Veda Vyasa. And there was a big debate whether to accept Atharva Veda as part of the Veda or not. Because Veda is supposed to reveal what you cannot figure out. And the Atharva Veda had mantras for healing, okay, mantras which were destructive, mantras dealing with martial arts, especially Dhanurvidya. So because of all that, there was a big debate among the rishis. Should it be accepted by everyone as the fourth Veda or not, as part of the Veda or not? In fact, it almost split the society. With people like Vasishtha and all saying no, it can't be accepted. Vasishtha, Shakti, all of them saying no, it can't be accepted. But Vishwamitra and Parashara, Vyasa's father, others saying no, it's revealed. And of course, who can forget Mahatharvan Jabali, the greatest expert of the Mahatharva Veda. All of them saying it has to be accepted. So it was Vyasa who got all the rishis together for a debate and discussion. And at the end of it, everyone accepted Atharva Veda is also a part of the Veda. The Atharva Vedic lore also has to be included into the Vedic lore. But by that time, most of the rituals, etc., were fixed. That's why you'll rarely find the Atharva Veda mantras chanted in a ritual. In the Arati, etc., you'll find it chanted. But in a ritual, you rarely find it chanted. Okay? Because by that time, the rituals and the whole thing, the structure was already given by the Rig, Yajus and Sama Vedas, mantras. Mainly Yajur mantras. It is already fixed. So, the master of the Atharva Veda was considered the Brahmana, the one who will oversee the whole thing and see if everything is going smoothly. Why? Because each person is involved with their own thing. Who is going to keep the view of the whole? The Atharva Veda master was considered that. Okay. So many of the tantric arts are derivative from the Atharva Veda. That makes the typical Brahminical community a little bit uncomfortable with tantric rites, but any temple is established by tantric rites. You go to Shankara Matam, they will say, no, we don't want to do any tantra, but There is a sacrifice of a bhopla on the last day for Navratri. That's tantric. I don't do these rituals, but I know them well. I know them well. They're tantric in nature. Yeah. In fact, half the time I'll just follow a ritual for a few minutes and I know where is the source of it, what is this thing. Though I don't consider myself as an expert, because expertise requires a lot more than what I am. But recognition doesn't require that much. Plus the energies will tell me. Each mantra has to have an energy. You have to feel that energy when you chant it. Most of the time you don't, it's mechanical. So that is where the role of the Ganapata comes in preservation. So listen to it, it has got a good energy about it. Because all said and done, they may not come for moksha in this lifetime, but there's a lot of sacrifice in it. They spent a lifetime in just chanting and preserving it for the future generations. That's huge. That's huge tapas, that's huge sacrifice. Yeah, samarpanam it is. Because this lifetime moksha is not there for them. You can't be into all that and then come for moksha. Because that karma khandanam happens for moksha. That moksha, na karmana. By karma you are not going to gain moksha has to be very clear in your mind. And here the person who has committed his whole lifetime to karma. How is he going to be comfortable with that? Very few are going to be comfortable with that. Because the type of commitment that they have will invariably mean that they look upon it as the highest. How can you commit your whole life to something unless you look upon it as the highest? So how do you think they are going to come for Vedanta, which negates karma, for moksha? It doesn't negate karma for your worldly things or abhyudaya phalam, hereafter, etc. All that thing it doesn't negate. But for moksha it negates. So they find that difficult. Some do. One of the classical examples of someone who was brought up as a priest, then not only studied Vedanta, became a Vedanta teacher, is Swami Omkarananda. He was one of those rare people who managed to break free and come without feeling guilty about it, at the same time keeping that in his perspective. He was one of those rare people who did that. But you can count them on your fingers. Even Sureshwaracharya, the first among the karmatas to come to Vedanta. But once he came to Vedanta, he did not touch karma again after that, because he took sannyasa. After sannyasa, you are not going to go and do karmas. Maximum you will be present there. Maximum. Like how I come to Shankaramatam in Navratri time. That's the maximum. Okay. Not more than that. Yeah, not more than that. You will not do anything. So that is the background of the whole Ganapata, etc. Is definitely worth listening to. If possible live, listen to it live in Shankaramatam. Many of you are staying in Bombay and not far off from the Mata. Yeah. Even if you are far off, once in a way you can always come. Once in a way you can always make it. Go and listen live. And feel the energy. When you feel the chanting, sit down for some time, open your hearts up, feel the chant. You can't chant because you don't know, that's okay. But let the chant reverberate first through your ears, in your mind and your heart. Expose yourself to that, then you will see what the energy is all about. If you can't do it live, then do it on YouTube, etc. And even YouTube, if they are giving it live and you can hear at that time, it's even better. In fact, very few people know this. But chanting is also used in martial arts to destroy the enemy. Sound. The power of the sound is used. That part of it, my voice can go. That's a different part. It doesn't follow the swara. But even those things. Like Mahatarvan Javali's chant of death and chant of life, both are there. Because he was a rishi, you could kill a person with one word and bring the dead back to life with another. That was Mahatarvan Javali, the master of the Atharva Veda. The greatest master actually. He was also Vyasa's father-in-law. Because Vyasa married his daughter Vatika. All this my older students would remember from my Guru Purnima talks. If you don't, maybe some Guru Purnima I should repeat that part of it again. The whole story of Vyasa. Take some time. Generally in a program, etc., by the time I speak, there's only about 15-20 minutes left. So I cut it down. This will require time. So anyway, now the last class I had also said that the first book, okay, part 1, everything is simple. And I said you'll read. If there is any doubt, ask. So is there any doubt? Whole of part 1. There are no questions, and I assume everyone is clear about it. Or people have not read. Which is more like it. The only thing I said I'll add was the jiva entering the body. Now logically looking, the jiva is to enter right at conception itself. Why? Because it's an independent life form. So the jiva is to enter there. Another way of looking at it is that the jiva enters later, not at conception, because at conception it cannot survive. The body does not survive, the jiva cannot survive as an independent entity on conception. It can survive as an independent entity, earliest will be about the 7th month. Don't ask me, Swamiji, how in those days without incubators, etc., babies would survive at the 7th month? They could. You know what the latest tip among gynecologists of, instead of keeping a baby in an incubator, where do they keep? Sometimes you have to look at multi-disciplines to understand how the ancient civilization also worked. They call it a kangaroo pouch. They strap the baby close to the mother's heart. Literally strapped, with cloth. So that the mother's body keeps the child warm, the baby, the fetus, 7th month, 8th month, etc., keeps it warm. Plus the heartbeat is heard. Only nutrition has to be given from outside. So if in today's world from incubators people are going back to that, saying this is better, though it's very difficult for the mother. 24 hours, carrying the baby inside 24 hours is difficult enough. Outside makes it worse, I'm telling you. So 24/7 carrying it outside, very, very difficult. That's why it's not become a very popular practice. But that's supposed to be even better than an incubator. Unless the baby requires extra oxygen or something like that. Then it's a different thing. So, 7 month survival is a reasonable target. Okay? So they say the jiva enters on the 7th month. Maybe. Can't say no. Because body is only an equipment. And the equipment is dependent on the mother's functioning. So the equipment is dependent on the mother totally. Why should the jiva enter until it has become a viable unit? It's logical, though we don't have proof either way. So, but one thing is common in all oriented disciplines, they'll say the entrance is from the top. And even in medicine, they say this interlocking cranium, the shell, the bones, the interlocking, the last one to join up is the rest. It joins up only a few months after birth. This is medically known facts. So it enters from the Sahasradhara, and your whole energy hold is up to your perineum. Until you take birth outside them, it is actually not up to the perineum, it is up to the navel, and then with the umbilical cord connected to the mother, because that is a cycle of life. So the energy has to flow from the cosmos and from the mother. Once the child is born, the energy flows from the top as well as from the ground, and you are kept alive with the energy. The moment the energy goes, you go. Okay. There are methods of cutting off this energy flow. You will collapse. Okay. But those are not what I am going to teach. Okay. It requires a lot of self-mastery before you learn these disciplines, because these are dangerous disciplines. Okay. Yeah. So let us leave that part of it. So then he says he entered. We are talking of the cosmic form now. Okay. We are talking of the cosmic form. He entered. Now the cosmic form Virat, there is a sense of I. Correct or not? Because the cosmic mind is there. So there has to be a sense of I. And when the sense of I was there, what is the natural knowledge that will be there? For us, the natural knowledge will be I am this much only.
Ahankara.
That is for you and me. When we are born, there is a sense of ahankara, a finite I, because our experiences are finite. For the Virat, it will be what? I am everything.
I am everything.
I am Brahman. I am everything. Why? Because the cosmic form, the cosmic mind. Therefore, the cosmic knowledge is available. The source of this knowledge is Ishvara. He is connected with Ishvara's mind. Therefore, the knowledge will be, I am everything. There is nothing other than me. So, the Upanishad says here also that. The Upanishad says here, yeah, he realized this thing. Etameva purusham brahmatam apashyat. Brahmatamam apashyat. He saw the Purusha, the I, because I will be manifest. Even in the Virat mind, and he recognized that I has nothing but Brahman. Why? Because the knowledge is there. Cosmic mind has all knowledge. So just because the cosmic mind has manifested as the Virat, doesn't mean the knowledge goes away. If that knowledge goes away there, you and I will not get it. The Veda will may not be there. Forget Ganapati, the Veda itself will not be there. Therefore, that is manifest there like that. Okay. And therefore he says, okay, Nama Idendraha Havai Namaha. The Purusha is also called Idendraha. And it is shortened to Indra. That's why you will find there is a big difference between the Vedic Indra and the Pauranic Indra. Vedic Indra is nothing but Ishvara. He is presented as Indra. Indro Maya Bihi Purvarupameti. Indra manifested himself as all forms through Maya. So there in the Veda, Indra is presented as Ishvara himself. In the Puranas, Indra becomes ruler of heaven. You had one local Indra also. All sort of problems. If you listen to the generals a bit more, we wouldn't have the Bangladesh problem of today. All the generals there had warned her that 30-40 years down the line you're going to have a problem there. So see in what way you can solve it. Yeah. I know because I knew some of them well, very well. Yeah. So, Indra of the Upanishad is different from Indra of the Puranas. Indra of the Puranas is a very flawed character, deliberately presented like that, because even if you are a ruler of heaven, you can have insecurity, etc. So it's presented as a flawed person, as an insecure person also, as a person given to all passions, this, that, etc. Also presented as someone who has gained this knowledge from Uma Haimavati. It shows what? That even after gaining the knowledge, you have to own it up and make it a fact of your life. Otherwise, these type of things can hijack you. The more it's a fact of your life, the less things can hijack you. Where is the highest nishtha possible? In all the 14 dimensions, where do you think the highest nishtha is possible? Come on, you have studied this in Katha Upanishad. Where is the highest nishtha possible?
Here on earth.
On earth.
Yeah.
Like in a mirror, in heaven, shadow and darkness in Pitraloka, etc. This is how the truth is known in those lokas. It's only here that nishtha can be that well. Not that in heaven, because karma devas, they can get nishtha, but it will take a long time. That's why some of the devatas were also envious of some of the rishis. Why the rishis on earth had greater nishtha than the devatas in heaven. Even though they are karma devatas and therefore could get the nishtha, their karma kept them from getting it because they had to last out the whole thing. Okay. So this is, you always have to see the difference between the Vedic view and the Puranic view. Vedic worship and Puranic worship. Okay. In Vedic worship, it is purely natural forces are used as symbols for Ishvara. Agni, Surya, etc. Gayatri, Surya is invoked. No? Surya is Ishvara, not this Surya. That is the symbol for Ishvara. Soma is invoked. Chandra is invoked. The 9 planets are invoked. Each planet has a deity also. So this is all Vedic. Only natural forces. Symbols came later. When Kali Yuga was starting. In fact, Vyasa to a great extent was responsible for it. So that the form of worship could shift. Because in Kali Yuga, it's very difficult to do a Vedic Homa. He knew that lifestyles would change so much that to do a Vedic Homa, etc., will be very difficult. By Veda Dhyanam, Ganapatis, you have to make a big organization for it. No? An institution has to take up and organize it. Olden days, every village had a few Ganapatis. Every village. Couple of Ganapatis you would get in every village. Now, every village Agnihotris were there. Now you have to proudly claim there are 23 Agnihotris all over India. Every Brahmana was supposed to be an Agnihotri, okay? Now they will only claim I am Brahmana because I was born in a Brahmana family. Okay. No, I do Sandhya Vandanam regularly. Sandhya Vandanam my child is also supposed to do. What's so great? Even that people find it difficult. Some of your working timings are there. Who can be there at sunrise? Sunrise we can be there. Sunset who can be there? We are stuck in office. Correct? Kali Yuga ka difference that comes. Understandable. That's why the forms became Pauranic. Vyasa was greatly responsible for that. Yeah, in a way, Kali Yuga is also responsible for urbanization, the mad urbanization. We had urban cities even during the Vedic age. In fact, Ayodhya and all are described as cities. Ayodhya was Vedic. Mohenjo-daro, Harappa and all these are Vedic cities. Avanti. Okay. What other cities? There are some, I forget this thing. Avanti, Alkapuri, all this is mentioned. They were all urban centers. But it was not a madcap, crazy urbanization. The urban centers were also in touch with nature. It's only now the modern urbanization. You go to some places, you will have to look for a tree. Yeah, you'll have to hunt for a tree.
Artificial ones.
Yeah. So now we are trying to create artificial trees, which will take in carbon dioxide, give out oxygen. Good. At least that way they are saving the atmosphere. So it's good. Nothing bad about it. Yeah. Since you can't have a natural tree, have an artificial tree. Artificial intelligence is there, so a lot of artificial things can come up. Artificial emotions can come up. But ignorance and confusion is real, okay? There's nothing artificial about it. Anyway.
Because ignorance is anadi.
Anadi, that's what I'm saying, there's nothing artificial about it. Now, in this process of deification, of creating deities, all the Vedic words alone were used for the deities. Shiva, Rudra, etc. were there in the Vedas. Vishnu, Vyapnoti, Sarvam. All these words are there in the Vedas. And used, based on these words and the descriptions in the Veda, Vyasa created the Puranas. Not all Puranas were written by Vyasa, though we say that. I'm sure a lot were written by his students. The styles are varied and different. So now you have, and the first form was Shiva. By you put all forms together, you will get the linga. Buried in the pita, because only half is seen. You don't see all of Ishvara. It's covered in Maya. Pita is Maya. Shakti. So Shakti covers this thing, you see only part of it. So then the whole things came up. First form. That's why I said in that Shivratri talk, Shiva was always looked upon as Parameshwara, as Ishvara himself, not as one of the Trinity, Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva. He was not looked upon like that. He was looked upon Ishvara. That's why you take any discipline of knowledge, it is traced to Lord Shiva. Veda, Brahmajnanam to Shiva, martial arts to Shiva, dance, music to Shiva. What is not traced to Shiva? Tantra to Shiva. Some of the greatest tantrics are Aghoris to Shiva. If Shiva is to be presented as Ishvara, he has to hold all opposites within him. Because Ishvara includes all opposites. Mangala Swarupam Amangalyam Sheelam. It comes in the Shiva Mahimna Sutram very nicely. Mangala Swarupa, Moksha Swarupa. But what is the Sheelam? Amangalyam. Yeah. If you and I go to the funeral ground, you are supposed to come back and have a bath. And what does he do? Take all the ashes and put it all over. In fact, one of my students had a house in Benares. Some of you know him, Sahaya Sahab. So, a very devoted South Indian Brahmana went to him in Benares. He wanted to have Vishwanath Darshan. He went to Benares. And he asked him, can you get me some vibhuti from the temple? No problems. You got a whole packet. Give. See, after bath, he quickly put it on. Then Sahasab asked him, do you know where from the vibhuti is from? Where? Smashan Jaya. It's from the Smashana.
Manikarni Ghat.
Yeah.
The Manikarni Ghat.
Manikarni Ghat. Yeah, it's from the Smashana that has come. This guy went and had another bath. The Brahminical mind couldn't handle it. Why? That is true. Yeah, Vijay Varanasi tells these stories very well. He is a modern Sutrakara, storyteller. Vijay Varanasi is good. We had him for one Vedic Wisdom Festival. We will see if we can get him again, but now he has become a big man. I wonder whether he will come for it. He's a very nice person, nice boy.
What do you expect there was this thing in Shanmukananda?
Yeah, he was there in Shanmukananda. I know. Some of my students have gone for that. Yeah, went for that. So this is the whole thing. That it has to hold all the pairs of opposites. Music and dance on one hand, martial arts on the other hand. Well, both are art forms. Both have to be practiced has to be learned as a science, practiced as an art. In fact, most things in life are like that. You have to study it like scientifically, logically, reasonably, and practice it has to come as an art. So, now you have all the, after that, you have to know, then look at it, no, Parmeshwara, you have to look at it a little bit more. You have to look at it as creation, sustenance, destruction. So then the Trimurtis came up. Then Devatas for each functionary came up. Then Upadevas came in. After all, Shiva and Parvati is married, they must have a son at least, no? So you had Kartikeya and Ganesha, etc. Because people like to think in their terms. How can you not have a family? Why not? Is it mandatory to have a family? It's not mandatory, but people like to think of it. Therefore, all this came up, which is fine. So now the whole thing shifted from the Vedic form to the Puranic form. The temples are still established by Vedic forms, okay? But the worship is Puranic. In fact, to digress, there are 3 types of temple pratishtha, irrespective of the murti inside. The simplest and the easiest is what we call Loka Vyavahara pratishtha. The people's devotion makes the pratishtha. You pick up a stone and put it here, this is Linga. You put up a murti and put it there, this is Vishnu. This is Ganesha. It is just put there. And people go with their devotion and offer, and the energy is manifest there. This is called Loka Vyavahara Pratishtha, easiest to do. Then you have the Vaidika Pratishtha. See, even Loka Vyavahara Pratishtha, there are huge temples with a lot of positive energies coming up. Like your Babulnath temple in Bombay is Loka Vyavahara Pratishtha. That's why anyone can go in and touch the linga, do the Abhisheka themselves. They'll say also, usko barabar massage the linga. They'll say, come on. The South Indian mind can't accept that. How do you do that? Because Loka Vyavahara Pratishtha.
Babulnath Shiva temple.
Yeah, Shiva temple. Then you have a Vaidika Pratishtha. Most temples are Vaidika Pratishthas, where only the pujari is allowed inside. Others, sometimes for some special occasion, others are also allowed, etc. And then there are Tantrika Pratishthas, very few. Kamakhya, some of the Kerala temples and all are Tantrika Pratishthas, where even the pujari has to maintain a lot of disciplines, etc. Tantrika Pratishtha temples are very, very powerful temples. Yeah. But it's difficult to get Tantrika priests to come and stay in a temple and do all the worship, etc. So, 3 main Pratishthas are there. Like in our ashram, we'll do a Vedika Pratishtha, because where we will get a Tantrika priest to come and do it here? Live in Bombay and do the thing. I was not allowed the Tantrika Pratishtha. But we won't get a priest to maintain it. Like in Rishikesh, the first Pratishtha of the temple was purely... no, Ramakrishna was not a Tantrika priest, but Ramakrishna did some Tantrika practices. Because of Kali worship, etc., he did some of the Tantrika practices. So in Rishikesh temple, the first was purely Loka Vyavahara Pratishtha. Swamiji found the linga lying on the banks of the Ganga. Therefore, we can technically claim it is Swayambhu, natural formation. So it took 3 of us to carry the linga and bring it to the ashram. Huge, heavy thing. Then we put it a Loka Vyavahara Pratishtha, because those days you wouldn't get a priest to do the puja. So whoever is free would do a puja. Yeah. Whoever is free. Then there is an old Swami there who would do a puja. That's how it came about. The whole temple came up purely on voluntary work by the people who were building up the Andhra Ashram temples. Those Shilpis did voluntary work and built it up. Every day 2 hours they would come and build it. So that temple took 3 months to build. This temple also got done. It's a small little temple. Tiny. Then recently when we did the Kumbhabhishekam, we did it the Vaidika way. Because now there are proper priests, etc. available. And now during the camp, those of us who are there at the camp will be lucky to see a Dakshinamurti Pratishtha also coming up. Yeah. In the camp sometime it will happen. So, all this I am elaborating, making it more current in terms of the first chapter, okay, first part of the book of the Aitareya Upanishad. Okay, so that the first chapter more or less is this thing. The next section also deals with Ishvara, but rebirth comes into the picture, Ishvara comes into the picture, the truth comes into the picture. Okay?
From Ishvara, the Tribhutis are come from Ishvara.
Beg your pardon?
First Ishvara, then
Yeah.
Tribhuti, the Paus to Mahesh.
Sorry, I am not hearing your question well.
No, first creation is Ishvara is the first.
Yeah.
Shiva is
He is talking about the Virat manifestation. Correct.
I put the Srishti.
Yeah. That's why Ishvara is called Indra in the Veda. Not in the Puranas, or in the Veda. Yeah. So that completes the whole thing. Okay. So I have elaborated a bit, gone more than what the text does, because I have to correlate it with what's happening today. Okay. So this is a complete picture. Therefore, when you are doing a worship, as I always say, you can invoke Ishvara in a small form, or you can invoke the deity. It's up to you, depending on what you need. If you have too many problems in your life, invoke as a deity, Ganesha, Vignahara, with the understanding that Ganesha is nothing but Ishvara himself. Because what is an upasana? Or what is worship? I am going to give you a definition. Niskrishta vastuni utkrishta vastu aropaha. In a commonplace object. Murti is a commonplace object. No? A local character has made it. He's made it out of plaster of Paris of all things. Not even granite. Niskrishta vastuni utkrishta vastu aropaha. On that, you are deliberately imposing a higher object. This is true for Vaidika, Pauranika, and secular this thing also. In Ganesha, you are the Murti, you are invoking Lord Ganesha, Ishvara. In a coconut, you are invoking Lord Ganesha. In a beetle leaf, you are invoking Lord Ganesha. Beetle nut. In a handful of turmeric powder, you are invoking Ganesha. But once you invoke Ganesha and the turmeric powder, you have to let him go in water, okay? You can't put him in sambar after that. Because now is a murti. The divine has been invoked there. Don't use turmeric for cooking or your what? Turmeric milk at night. You can't use it. Yeah. So Niskrishta Vastuni, Utkrishta Vastu, Aropaha. All worship is based on that. Not only all worship, even secular things. In the flag you invoke the country. No? There's an elaborate ritual about the flag. No? About the national flag. Yeah. How it is to be flown, how it is to be up at sunrise, down at sunset, all that. The whole rituals about it are there. Yeah. Because it's supposed to invoke the devotion out of you. So in worship it is the same, in this is the same. Niskrishta vastuni, utkrishta vastu, aropaha. So in the whole thing, that's what Upasana is based on. Worship is based on. Devatas, deities, etc. are based on. And what are we trying to do? Go beyond the worship, go beyond that to understand that Ishvara and I are one and the same. As a sidelight, another form of worship is, they will say this, especially in Tantrika worships. Shivo bhutva shivam bhajed. Become like Shiva and worship Shiva. Now how do you become like Shiva? So you will go yourself more into lonely places, cut off social contact too much, be a great Vairagi, and then worship Shiva. That's why you find many Shiva temples are like that. Whereas Vishnu temples are more fun, joyous, etc. Yeah. Prasad is also very good. Yeah. In fact, I know Ahobala Mata, a lot of people go only for the prasad. Very nice prasad. Vishnu temple, eh? Vishnu Bhutva Vishnu Bhaje. So that is another form of way you worship. Because you are supposed to imbibe the qualities of your Ishta Devata. So I invoke The Lord is Dakshinamurti. So what am I supposed to invite? Knowledge, teaching. There it is. So this is how you combine the Vedika, the Pauranika, and blend it into going beyond that what the Upanishad says, to understand as pure consciousness. Only then your worship is complete. Only then your understanding of Ishvara is complete. If you leave yourself out of the picture, your understanding of Ishvara is partial. So I covered the whole first chapter in all detail with contemporary thing. So next class we will go into the second, part 2. Okay. Good place to stop here. Om Tat Sat.
Hariom, sir.